Well, hello retro game players, thanks for tuning in. I'm Marcus. This is I'm Moving the Super Nintendo Collection video. The Super Nintendo to me was a game system that was mysterious because I had the Sega Genesis. I had a couple of friends that had Sega Genesises and TurboGrafx 16s, and then at some point, I believe it was them first, got a Super Nintendo. And then I somehow ended up getting one like years after the Genesis came out. And so at that point there was a huge amount of games for it. There was an arcade in the town that I lived at, and they sold game systems and they would take trade-ins. So I basically was able to take like Genesis games in there, trade them for a Super Nintendo. And I remember one of the first games that I had for the Super Nintendo was this weird pirate game. I think it was called Juggernaut, but I'm not really sure. If I'm wrong, I'll find it. Maybe I don't even know if I have it, but anyway, or it was called Jug or something. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, that was one of the earliest ones. It's a pretty bad game. It's interesting though, and the cart design is just very unique in the way that it sort of has these edges, and it's got the eject button that you would hit. All of that made it very cool, and actually the quality to me seemed better on these games than the Genesis carts. So yeah, of course I had friends that had Super Nintendos before I got one, and I would check them out. I remember playing Final Fight really early on. So yeah, anyway, Super Nintendo is awesome. I just haven't been collecting for it as hard as some of the other systems that I have. And at some point I will go attack it, but right now it's just sort of get the ones that I think are cool, and if I can get them for a good deal. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, first off is Batman Returns. As I said in a previous video, the Sega CD version is pretty much my favorite, although this one I think is a little different in style, if I remember. But yeah, it's cool. It's another Konami game. Bram Stoker's Dracula. This is actually another cool game, I think. It's got digitized graphics, and the Sega CD version is the one that I like the most, but it's still pretty cool on this. Monopoly, I can't really even tell you if I've ever played Monopoly, but it's one of the few games that I have the game and the manual for. This is some strange one that I'm not really that familiar with. It's Jim Powers or something. Jim Power: The Lost Dimension in 3D. So, I couldn't tell you if this is a really good game or not, but it looks interesting enough to where I would want to check it out. And I like the strange logo in the middle that's like Lost Dimension in 3D, or just Lost Dimension. It's like in this wavy 3D pattern. That's pretty strange. Star Fox is one of my favorite games ever. This is the FX chip, and yeah, what a classic game. Seriously, this was the game that you would play to just show off the power of the Super Nintendo, which, looking back, it's kind of slow, the frame rate and stuff, but it's a really cool game. So, and then SimCity, this I can honestly say that I've spent hours and hours and hours with. I built up a metropolis at one point, which is really hard to do in this game, and then maintain the metropolis, I'd say, is even harder. Like, you can achieve a metropolis, but then keeping it to that level and keeping it from, falling apart is insane. You have to design the cities basically perfectly and systematically from the ground up. And this game really did teach me a lot about, seriously, like budgeting and, just the concept of taxes and, high taxes make someone move and, that kind of stuff. And without going into too much detail, the taxes where I'm moving to are a lot cheaper. So anyway, SimCity's awesome. Okay, we've got Beavis and Butthead. You know what? This one I also did play. I played this more than the Genesis version, actually. So there was a time where I think I beat this. And it's a pretty fun game. It's well animated, especially the show. I'm a fan of the show. Always liked the show. So yeah, the game's pretty cool. Scooby-Doo, and this is a Scooby-Doo mystery. I have not really played this, so can't say if it's any good. Although Scooby-Doo is pretty cool. Pilot Wings. This game I definitely spent a lot of time with. It's It's very, very fun. I love the soundtrack. If you've watched this channel for a while, you'll know that I use a lot of the music from Pilot Wings, and I don't know, I think it's really cool and kind of weird and relaxing and stuff. And anyway, I really have fun with this game. I really, really enjoy that. This is one of the ones that I played a lot when I was a kid. Earthworm Jim. You know, I haven't played this one much on Super Nintendo, but I played the sequel a ton. So, but this is definitely a classic. And then this is one of my favorites on the Super Nintendo called Cybernator. There was a period of like a whole summer I pretty much played the crap out of this game. I don't know, I just loved it. I love the explosions, I love the giant mech dude and the graphics, and I don't know, I just really liked it. And everything about this game is polished, and it just comes off polished. And I don't know, when I'm comparing this game for Super Nintendo versus some of the Sega Genesis stuff, this one just comes off so like the production's really well done, and I just really appreciate how good it is. And you can see it's an old school Konami game. But yeah, Cybernator, if you haven't played it, please check that out. Okay, we've got Mickey Mania, and it's some crazy timeless, what's it say? The Timeless Adventures of Mickey Mania, or Mickey Mouse. You know, I haven't played this either, so looks cool. Super Metroid, never heard of that one. Have no idea what this is, but if you want to check it out, go ahead. No, dude, this is a great game. What am I freaking joking? That's not even funny. It's not even funny to joke about that. This is a great game. The soundtrack is one of my favorites ever, and the ambiance of this game is just stunning. So check out Super Metroid if you never have. In fact, I personally would recommend playing it first before Metroid on the NES if you haven't ever played any of the classic ones. Shadowrun, I never got into this, although it's a really cool kind of RPG. So yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. I just don't know much about it. Obviously, the logo is incredible. It's all like techie and evil, and it's got a scroll, and it's just cool. Buster Bust Loose. Now, you can make fun of me, but I like this game. This is another game I had when I was a kid, and yeah, it's fun. It's got some cool modes. I always liked the graphics. It was just one of the ones I had, and honestly, I got this thing for so cheap. And check it out, it's another Konami. Demolition Man. I really like the movie, although I haven't played this game, and I'm excited to play the game because I think it's going to be awesome, but I have not spent any time with it. This is the one that I actually did play on the channel, and it's basically Yardian, or Zardian. I always mix that up because the X kind of looks like a Y, but it is Zardian or Zardion or something. This was hard, and honestly, if I played it again, it would make more sense, and I'd probably do better. But this one is on the channel, and it's cool. You kind of like have these morphing things. I can't really remember, but it took me a while to figure out I could even do that. So anyway, cool game. All right, here we have Disney's Aladdin. This is a great game. It's Capcom, as you can see. A lot of people like the Sega one better. For me personally, I think the Sega one is a little better, but this one's still fun. So check it out if you like these old Disney games. Spider-Man and the X-Men's Revenge or something. Hold on, what is it? The full title: Arcade's Revenge. Spider-Man, X-Men, Arcade's Revenge. You know what? I barely remember this one. For some reason, it's kind of blanking out, so I can't really remember if it's like a fighter or just kind of like a side-scroller one, like a lot of the other Spider-Man games. But it's LJN. So yeah, the rainbow of confidence. Super Turrican. I think I played on the channel. I'm having a hard time remembering, but this is a really cool game. So you can check that one out. It's definitely action-packed, really cool graphics. Dragon's Lair, definitely played this on the channel. And if you remember, the Russian version of Assassin's Creed for the Mega Drive is this game ported over. So we played that, and also I unboxed it with some of the other Russian games. But anyway, this is the cool game. Dragon's Lair sucked when I rented it. I remember the day I rented it and brought it home, and I played it, and I'm like, this is not Dragon's Lair. How disappointing. So for that, if you have a Sega CD, that's a really good version. It's a little grainy, but it's a good version. NCAA basketball. This is one that I actually played a lot when I was a kid, and it uses the Mode 7 scaling constantly. And I remember actually reading this like in a magazine about it, and it was really interesting, and the graphics looked really cool. And then at some point when I was able to buy it for cheap, I did, and I never regretted it. I always liked it. It's a fun game, and after you get used to like the motion and stuff, I think it's pretty cool. So I like the scaling. It's very early 3D looking, and yeah, it's a good basketball game. The Lion King, I haven't played this a lot, but I've heard it's pretty good. So I didn't really play Disney games that much when I was a kid. If someone had it, I would play it, but I wasn't going out of my way to play this. Super Adventure Island. This is a really fun game. I used to play the original in the arcade quite a bit. And yeah, this is the one where you get the little axe and also the skateboard, and you collect fruit and everything. This is a fun game. I'm going to try and make an effort to play this one on the channel at some point. Mario's Time Machine, you know what, I don't know much about this. I have a feeling it's like an educational game, but I don't really know much about it. And I can tell you that Davy, if that is Davy, or Dewey, Door, I don't know, Davy, I don't know. Anyway, this guy, I'm sure he knows how good this game is, but yeah, I can't tell you. Now, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, this is a classic game. Whether or not you play this on Sega Genesis or the Super Nintendo, doesn't matter. It's just a phenomenal game. It's Konami. I did play this on the channel and had a really good time doing it. It's super addicting. You get playing and you'll just end up, it'll suck you in. It's a great, great game. Tons of levels too. I can't remember how many there are total, but it's a lot of levels. Maximum Carnage, just like the Sega Genesis version, it is a red cart. And I just think that's cool. It stands out. It totally stands out, especially with Super Nintendo games, because you don't have a lot of the boxes, or at least I don't. It is LJN, but yeah, it's basically, you know, another kind of Spider-Man game. Spider-Man versus Venom. Now, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. This was one of the early RPGs. It was simplified. It was supposed to be great for the United States, and you know, as far as like an entry-level kind of you know, Final Fantasy type game. I will say that I did play this and I beat it when I was probably like 13 or something. And I really liked it. I thought it was an awesome game, and I know I even felt like it was simple, but I enjoyed it. And after it was over, I was bummed when it was over. And so to this day, I still think it's a cool game, and I would completely endorse Mystic Quest. If you're looking for just a real simple RPG and you want to check it out, it's pretty fun. I like it. And then this is Roger Clemens MVP Baseball, which I don't think I've ever played, but it's an LJN game. Alright, so this is it's sealed, but it's just shrink wrapped, you know, and it's a Bishop Brothers kind of a repro cart, and this is Super Mario World Kaizo Edition. I need to bust this thing out of this plastic right away and play it. But anyway, yeah, that's what this is. They make awesome games, so check out their website, and yeah, really cool. Clue is you know, a pretty interesting game. The movie's awesome. They had a board game too, but I haven't spent a lot of time playing this game. I've turned it on and checked it out, and that's about it. Soul Blazer, this is a game to me that's similar to Mystic Quest in that I spent a lot of time with it, but it was way better, you know, and the action RPG element is super cool. And the music I like a lot, and the idea that you're like, you know, I think you get like sucked into paintings and stuff, and it's just really cool. It's a great game. I don't know, honestly, there's times where I'm like, I just need to boot this up and play it like right now, and maybe I'll do it for the channel someday, but this is one of my favorite games ever. Ys 3, I have not played this, so this is a classic RPG. Wanderers from Ys, so I should play this sometime. I just haven't yet. So but look at the cover and look at the artwork. I mean, it's totally awesome, totally up my alley. And yeah, this is Super Baseball 2020. It says Trade West. Every time I think of Trade West, I think of Battletoads. And then Jurassic Park Part 2, The Chaos Continues. Now, this, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is the game where you, this is the game where you are basically playing as the main guy, and you go around the park looking for eggs or something. And if that's it, I actually did play this quite a bit, and it was really fun, but I don't think the game saves. And anyway, could be mixing it up with a different Jurassic Park game. Here's Super Pinball. You know what? I want to check this out immediately. I actually didn't even realize I had this in the collection. It says Behind the Mask, so that sounds interesting. Stargate. You know, personally, I never got into the show. I do remember the movie. The movie was like repeated forever. Seems like for a few years there, everywhere you turned, as far as TV, it would be like playing Stargate, the movie. But anyway, it's an okay movie. Balls, yeah, 3D balls fighting at its balliest. This is that weird 2D fighting game that's kind of like 3D because it's using these 3D looking balls. Anyway, this is pretty cool. This is Mega Man and Bass. This is one of the repros from Bishop Brothers. You can see I've got the purple cart, which is pretty awesome. So I'm not really sure. I can't remember the details about this game. But yeah, it's Capcom, so pretty cool. Clock Tower. I don't know if this one might not be Bishop Brothers. I'm not sure where I got this one. It could be from Uncle Tusk. But anyway, you can check those videos out. There's actually a bunch of different pickup videos featuring repro games. And Clock Tower is definitely an awesome game. And the graphics, I think, are really cool. Very suspenseful. But as you can see, I have not opened it or played it yet. So here's another one, BS Shockman Zero. This is some kind of a weird, like, stylized Mega Man one, but it's not Mega Man, and I don't really know much about it. Also, when I think of this, I think of Pulse Man, which also kind of reminds me of a stylized kind of Mega Man, and we played Pulse Man on the channel. But yeah, there's this game. And then this is Nightmare Busters, which looks really awesome. I think I saw this on Reggie's channel once a long time ago, and it's like a really awesome looking 2-player game, so I want to check this out sometime. I just still haven't played it. So anyway, really excited to play that. Lawnmower Man, this was a pretty awesome movie. Back in the day, it was one of those crazy 3D movies about virtual reality and like kind of a AI intelligence or something that had some supernatural power. I really can't remember it too well, but maybe I just described it perfectly. Anyway, this is a cool, interesting take on that movie. You know, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it at check out the movie, you know, if you can. But maybe the game's worth it. I haven't played it in a long time. The Chess Master. Hey, if you like chess, like this guy does, I think it's safe to say this is a good game. But you know what? I haven't played it that much. Wayne's World. I did play this quite a bit. It's definitely fun. It's not horrible. Personally, I'd rather play the Beavis and Butthead game, though. T2. This is the LJN game. You know, not horrible, but it's a movie game, you know. Vegas Stakes. You know what? This might be my second copy of this. I'll have to leave it out and check it. I think I have one that's boxed. And then Mario Paint. I do have the actual mouse pad and mouse with this as well. Alright, here's Speedy Gonzales. Los Gatos Banditos. Let's see what that says. Yep, Los Gatos Banditos. Anyway, you know, I can't say I've played this. Super Scope 6. You know what I'm realizing? I already have this one too, because I have the Super Scope and the game is in there, so I'm going to set this down. Donkey Kong 3. This is Dixie Kong's Double Trouble, classic game. Saber Run, or Run Saber, sorry. I think that I played this on the channel. Pretty sure I did. It's a lot like Strider, and it's Atlas, which is pretty cool. Brunswick World Tournament Champion, so this is bowling. Never played this. Can't say anything about that. Hook. I like the Sega CD version a lot. It's got cutscenes, voices, really great music, but this is pretty much the same game. And yeah, it's a Sony game, which is kind of cool, so pretty awesome. Total Carnage. Love Total Carnage. There's a poster just out of frame to the right. And it's a great 2-player game. I think I played this on the channel too. And this is a lot like Smash TV. And I think this is kind of like a sequel to Smash TV. So anyway, Total Carnage is very cool. Alright, so here's Super Return of the Jedi. We did beat this game. It was insane. I had to use the in-game cheat menu, but it was really fun and still very, very difficult. So If you want to see that, that's 3 different videos. I'd say it's some of the craziest footage I've ever filmed, just because the game is insane and some of the levels are so insane. You climb so high and then make one step and you fall, like seriously, like 500 scale feet, and it's insane. One thing I noticed on this is that the clip where the cartridge goes is like kind of strange looking. If you can see that, but like normally the clip looks like this, and for some reason it looks really weird. I don't know if that's normal. I don't know what's going on there. Almost looks like it melted or something. Here's just Jurassic Park, the first one. I can't say what the difference is. I think that this one's the side scroller, if I remember right, and the other one is kind of like the overhead map one, but I could be wrong. Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest. Another really fun Donkey Kong game. Final Fight, definitely played that on the channel. This is one of the first games I ever played on Super Nintendo. I personally love the intro theme song. Not the intro. I mean, that's a cool song, but the level 1 music is so awesome in this game. And I like it even more than the Sega CD versions of the music or any other music. For some reason, the first song in this, I just think it sounds so awesome. So, Wing Commander, I've never played this on the Super Nintendo. I played it on the PC a little bit, and I played the sequels on the PC, but here it is on Super Nintendo. Is it any good? I don't know. And then Stunt Race FX, or just Stunt Race. They add the FX because it uses the FX chip. It's kind of choppy, but it's fun, and I don't know. Personally, I'd much rather play Mario Kart, but it's still pretty cool. Alright, here's Saturday Night Slam Masters. This, if I remember, has some pretty cool wrestling ripoffs. Like, I don't know, I can't remember if they have like a Hulk Hogan ripoff, but anyway, it's definitely pretty cool. It's big, large graphics. It's by Capcom, so it's kind of like, sort of like a fighting game with wrestling. And yeah, anyway, it's really good graphics. I think it's a pretty fun game. Captain America and the Avengers. This is a really cool game. I enjoy this one better than the Sega Genesis version, and I think it's like closer to the arcade if you're gonna get either of those two. It's still kind of a weak port, but it's pretty awesome. And I love the sound effects and sound samples when they say like they're injured and stuff. It's really funny. So great game. Final Fantasy II. This is a classic, definitely worth checking out. So yeah. Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure. This is pretty tough, but also pretty cool. Straight ahead of the camera is a poster for this, and yeah, I've got this on a few different systems. Battleship. I never played this with anybody, so I don't know if this is any fun or not, but I would imagine it is. The game itself has great dynamics and just a great, setup for fun, so it should be a really cool game, but I haven't played it. And then finally, Super Mario All-Stars, which I still play this game honestly like once a month just for fun. I really enjoy this game. I've always liked the remix. However, I kind of like the original graphics better on some of these games, because if you don't know, this is like Mario 1, 2, and 3, and then like the Japanese version of Mario 2, all on one cartridge with improved graphics. And so I was actually like playing Mario 2 recently and made it really far, although I did not beat it, but I just kind of stopped continuing too. So anyway, it's a really fun game. Okay, so here's Pocky and Rocky. This game's pretty tough. I am not very good at it, although I think with some practice I could do some damage. And it's really kind of fun. It's kind of like these cute little characters, but it's basically a shooter. And it's an action shooter that's really well thought out. With practice, I think it'd be really fun. But it is really cool. Great style. This game, oh my god, just the soundtrack alone is amazing. Killer Instinct, all black cart. This is one of those games. I actually got this at the Retro Gaming Expo. Someone traded me for something. They came up, they saw my booth. I was selling a few games, and they wanted to trade, and they pulled this out. So we made a trade. I can't be happier than this game. I love playing as Saber Wolf, and yeah, great game. Super Mario World. This obviously is a classic. Don't need to talk too much about that. Super Mario Kart, same thing. What a great game. What a great, fantastic racing game on an early 16-bit system. And then here's Donkey Kong Country, which is another classic game. Totally, totally awesome. I think this is my favorite one out of the Donkey Kong series, just because I played it the most. And then this is Aero Fighters, which, does it look weird to you? it should. This is a repro. The label is slightly faded looking. However, oh, and it's much more lightweight. It's not like a real Super Nintendo game cast. It's like, yeah, like here's one way you can immediately tell is the screws here. They're like plastic on this one, and it's just a lot lighter. But Aero Fighters is a fun game. I think I got this game for like $5. I don't know. It wasn't much, whatever it was. So anyway, I don't have a problem buying repros for super expensive games. Alright, so this is the Super Game Boy. This allows you to play your Game Boy games on the Super Nintendo. This is such an awesome thing, and yeah, it's totally worth getting. They go for about $10. Awesome device. This is Star Fox 2. This is one of the box games that I have, and this was a game that I talked about in one of my pickup videos. And yeah, anyway, it's a really fun game. I beat it. I will do it for the channel at some point. Honestly, I started a review and I never finished it, so I just had too much fun playing it. So anyway, it's a really cool game. This box also was from the same guy, and yeah, it's just a really beautiful box, and so it's a really awesome game. Actually says unofficial Nintendo reproduction on the back and the sticker. It's really hard to see, but that's what it says. This is not a Super Nintendo game. This is actually a PC game. However, it's in a Super Nintendo style cartridge, and so I keep it with the Super Nintendo games. And I don't mean cartridge, I meant box, because actually if you open this, it's not gonna be what you think it is. So there you go. It's a 5 1/4 inch floppy for PC, which is really cool. And actually I have a couple different versions of this. I got this game for $4 on eBay. It came originally as like a, let's see, arcade block pack-in, and a lot of people got this and they didn't care about it. They're like, whatever. So it was on eBay for a long time, between $4 and $7, and I was able to get one for $4 shipped. I mean, it weighs nothing. It was a little bit crushed when it showed up, but the cardboard somehow rebounded and it was crushed like right here, but it really looks pretty good. So anyway, I keep that with my other Super Nintendo games. Super Tennis, yeah, whatever, you know. It's pretty cool looking, I guess, but if you're gonna play tennis, and if you have a Dreamcast, just play Virtual Tennis. That is the way to go. Vegas Stakes. This is a duplicate one that I had because earlier we came across the cartridge. So here it is boxed. I'll have to get rid of that other copy of Vegas Stakes. And then Madden 95, which I don't know why I have this boxed, but it's super heavy. Maybe there's like gold in here. I think it's probably got the manual. Must have a big manual. Let's see. Yeah, pretty thick. Pretty thick manual. Oh, some kind of, oh wow, yeah, look at all this crap. So it's got like Seattle Seahawks on here. Oh, it's the charts, team profiles. And then here's the other one, so that's why it's so heavy. Just came across a couple more Super Nintendo games that I was missing for some reason. So this one is Road Runners. Whoa, that was crazy. Death Valley Rally. So have this one for the Sega Genesis, I believe. I could be wrong though. I think I do. This is Tiny Toon Adventures Wacky Sports Challenge. So I haven't played that. Disney's The Jungle Book. This one's a great one. The Simpsons Bart's Nightmare. I always thought this was one of the best Simpsons games ever made. Except for the arcade, of course. Sim Ant. And I only played this, which sounds weird, on an old Mac, like Performa or a Quadra, something like that. Anyway, an old Mac. And then the last one is Miss Pac-Man. So I just wanted to include those. I just came across them. So it's always fun when you're moving to find games just randomly somewhere else, you know. Just a couple books. I've got Pitfall, The Mayan Adventure, Survival Guide, which, again, one thing about Super Nintendo games is I love how they're in full color. I mean, like the Sega Genesis, some games were in color, but I'd say that most of them, I think, are black and white, and that's always been kind of weird to me. Here's Monopoly, whatever. Here, oh, here's a black and white one. Look at that, right after saying that. And then what's this? The Super Game Boy manual. So, you know, it just talks about how the thing works and stuff. But anyway, that's a great thing to have. Alright, so here's a couple other Super Nintendo items. This is the Super Nintendo Super Scope 6, which is in the original box. Let's just check it out here. Well, there it is, unboxed and ready to rock. So while we were going through the collection of cartridges just now, I came across a couple here, including this, that were duplicates. So came across the Vegas Stakes one, that's a duplicate, and then Super Scope 6, and then also the Mario Paint. So anyway, so here's the Super Scope 6. It's definitely pretty neat. It's got a sensor that you'd hook up to your TV. The whole thing pops out. It's got like a shoulder hookup. So yeah, I got this thing for 20 bucks, so pretty awesome deal in the box. 20 bucks, can't go wrong with that. And then I got this one. This is a semi-recent Craigslist pickup. I got this for 10 bucks, and it's Mario Paint in the box. And this is pretty cool because it's got the game and the manual. But check this out, a mouse manual, because it's got the Super Nintendo mouse and this crazy like mouse pad, so you can actually play, and it's in perfect condition. Anyway, 10 bucks in the box, gorgeous, amazing deal. And it's a fun game too. It's got good music and you can do a lot of cool art and stuff. So anyway, that's another duplicate game that I found while I was doing this. So glad I went through this, honestly. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and of course, stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more videos to come, and as always, keep that shit retro by playing your old Super Nintendo and all the crazy components and peripherals. Later on.